Got some small walnut logs here. You see it's re-sprouting there. And then you've got another piece here. Again, it's not massive. And we're going to mill this with the Panther Cub. It's going to be a long video. It's going to show you all the ins and outs of the Panther Cub and how it works. Pretty much how the Panther Cub arrives. So step number 1. That's step number 1. Step number 2, slide that down to there, tighten that up. Okay, and now you'll see that there is slot nuts here, so you can adjust those to that. I can't really undo it. So you can always move that over a bit. It doesn't have to be exactly there. So this crossbar I'll move over this way a bit, I think. So I've just moved that over. And you can see you do that with a little Allen key there. You just slacken off these and then you can move this in and out. These little grub screws that are around here, go round, and once you've got all the positions correct, tighten them all up. Because they do have a tendency, if they're loose, to vibrate out as you're using the mill. So mounting the saw to the mill, this piece is what holds the bar straight. And you'll notice on the bar there, it's got a slot. You don't need a slot, you can put it on your own chainsaw by drilling 2 holes, one here and one here. These are about 8mm, but if you drill, I mean, you could drill 110 and 1/8. And then you've got a bit of play, then you don't have to get them exactly in the right position. This dowel here is actually loose in there, it's not cut out of there. And you may have to tap this down so that everything sits flush. On the mill here you've got the magnet and you've got the stud. Using a 13mm combi spanner, don't go mad, just make sure that nut is done up nice and tight. Depending on where you want to mount the saw, and how, depending on what saw you have, how it influences the chain brake, that's up to you. So that's why you've got 2 slots here. So I could put it here. If I go to put it here, you can see the saw dog's get in the way, and also the chain brake is blocked. So for this saw, I'm going to mount this shorter end. If you look at it and you've got the smaller nubby bit, put on the put towards that side, so the longer piece of the dowel is sticking. Now put that on there, and you'll see the other side of the nub protrudes here. I can't show it at the moment, and the tabs engage on the skid, and then this locks it. This nylock locks it all in position. And you'll see, even though you've only got one holding. Even though you've only got that one nylock, it's very solid on there. So look at the position of the skid there. That's the other piece of the dowel which holds everything in position, because the dowel locks it to the skid, and then the skid has these tabs which lock it to this skid, and that's what it holds it all. So the whole thing works together, because you don't want this saw to rotate at all. On this 20-inch Panther Mini, it's about 17 inches. Bear in mind, these bars, they're the thinnest cutting chainsaw mill in the world. There's nothing that will cut thinner than this right now. But there is a compromise to be had, and that is that the nose sprocket is more fragile, the chain is more fragile, the bars are more fragile. They're not going to last as long as say if you went up to the next one, which is the 3/8 Low Pro, which is a much more durable setup. Setting up the first cut track for the Panther Cub. Bear in mind, I haven't got the nice new rungs which are all pre-drilled. I've got 2 drill places in. These lovely external brackets hold your rungs onto your rails. The side rails are the same for the bigger mills, so they can be reused if you get a bigger setup later. It does much easier with these, really. It just goes straight through. Put on our first cut rails, of course. That chainsaw will always cut wood, more or less, really. So if it's not cutting the wood, it's because there's something wrong with the chain. And I'm going to keep repeating this through all my videos now. Here you can see the bar is really twisted, and even so it was still cutting fine. This was an experimental deep cut I was doing here. It does not come as a ripping chain automatically. It comes as a standard chain, so the angle is going to be 30 degrees. It's going to be, I've worn these for about sort of 2.5 months, but I don't work every day. They've got built-in gel anti-vibe. It's all leather. You can use the code Panther Glove. That's glove in singular, so the words Panther Glove, and we'll see if we can do you a deal online, which I'm not sure what will be. So basically use the code Panther Glove, and if you buy a pair of these it will do you a little deal. Now, you haven't got the same ratchet system as the larger Panther nails, but it's still toolless to adjust the height on here. That's very easy. I'm going to put it to, I'm going to come down to 5 inches, I think. And that's it. There's nothing to undo. That's all you have to do. Bolt in, particularly when it's new, just to seat it fully. You can do that. And then you can back off it again. It's usually about 3mm on the end of that thread on that side. Let's make sure that still works. That still goes up and down. Let's go up to 5. Okay, so let's have a, not too hot. So I didn't wedge the cut up there because it's a small plank, but really just some little wedges in there would be good. Now if you look at that and you think, oh, it's a bit of a waste of a lovely bit of walnut, there is a way around this which I'll show you now. It's actually, because of that flat bit, it's quite stable. Now the quality of the cut there. I was saying before it's going to be ridged because it's not a ripping chain, but lo and behold, it's not ridged. It's actually very smooth. And that depends on what you're cutting, and that's the steel quarter 043. Absolutely superb cut, that one, in terms of smoothness, really, faultless, really. And that comes down into the sharpness of the chain, how it's sharpened, the wood that you're cutting, the width of the wood you're cutting. This is why there's no direct answer to, oh, this will give you a smooth cut. That will give you a smooth cut. Honestly, the cut is just smooth. Can't get better than that. Can't. This is the steel bar on the Echo, so I'm getting a little bit of oil leakage there. So from that little log, we have a pile of sawdust, as seen here. Looks quite large, doesn't it? But that's actually a lot smaller than it would have been with a bigger bar and chain. You've got your rough cuts, and then we've got 1¼ inch planks of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It took just under 2 tanks of fuel, and these are nice planks. I mean, they're sort of 12 to 14 inches wide on some of the wider ones. This is where it gets a bit confusing, I think, for some, because why is it so smooth when you haven't used a ripping chain? So does that mean that I don't need ripping chain, or does it make ripping chain redundant? No, it doesn't, because the reason is because it's a small thin chain. It behaves differently, and the type of wood I'm cutting, this walnut, is obviously behaving well with it. So the angle becomes, the smaller the chain and the width of the wood that I'm milling, the angle's less important, and the actual finish on this is just absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's as good as you're going to get. Good as you're going to get from anything, I think. So it's just worked out well today on that. On the bigger mills, yes, ripping chain, you'll find that 30-degree chain will bog down and it will leave much more score marks. You know, you'll get, I mean, there's a tiny bit as I've entered the wood here, but you'll get a real washboard effect. Or if I tried maybe to mill a different wood, that would give a washboard. But as far as these planks are concerned, it doesn't get any better. They're dead straight. Not to say that I managed to do it all the time, but this is like a homeowner setup. So if you can achieve that, you know, that's like it's probably taken me about just over an hour to do. So a couple of hours work will give you quite a good return, as long as everything's working correctly.